Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Daira from Gumpia Designs and Creations, and today I will be explaining what it means to crochet in rounds, how to start, and also I will be covering increases and decreases in this same video, since opposite to working in rows, working in rounds always require using at least increases. If you haven't watched it yet, check out my basic terms and stitches video where you can see some of the terms that I will be using in this video. Let's get started. We already know that working in rows is working side to side and turning your work at the end of the row and repeating the same process. We also know that you start with a slip knot and multiple chains to make your foundation chain. When working in rounds, however, you don't start with a foundation chain. You can start in multiple ways, but the most common are to start with a slip knot and chains and then join those chains to make a ring, or to start with a magic ring, also known as a magic circle or adjustable ring. I personally always start with a magic ring because it is adjustable and it doesn't leave a gap in the center. After you make your magic ring, you insert your stitches into the ring. Those first stitches will be the first round. For this video, my example is going to be a circle. I'm gonna start with a circle and then I will turn that circle into a sphere. I feel this is the perfect example for explaining increases and decreases in the round. First, I'm gonna show you really quickly how I make my magic ring. If you already saw my video of basic terms and stitches, you probably know how to make it, but I will show you it really quick in this video as well, just in case. So I grab my tail with my ring finger and my thumb. I wrap the yarn twice over my index and middle finger. Then grab the working yarn with my ring finger and thumb as well. I then insert my hook under the loop on the right on top of my fingers and grab the loop on the left. I pull this loop under the right one, and now I twist my hook clockwise, grab the working yarn, which would be this yarn right here, and pull it through the loop on the hook. And there is my magic ring. A lot of people feel intimidated by the magic ring, but it's pretty easy once you understand it. Just practice it until you get it. But if you really don't like it, there are multiple ways to make a magic ring, so you can also check other tutorials until you reach one that works for you. Now that I have my magic ring, I will start crocheting my stitches. In this example, I will make 6 single crochets. Keep in mind that you can start with any amount of stitches. It can be more than 6, it can be less than 6. It depends on your work. But in this case, I will use 6, and I will do this through both the ring and also the tail. That is really important. Always include the tail when making your stitches into a magic ring, because if not, the ring won't close properly. So I'm going to make 1 single crochet, 2, and so on. After placing my 6 single crochet, I will just pull the tail to close the ring. That is why it's called a magic ring or adjustable ring. That is my first round, 6 stitches. From round 2 and forward, we are going to start making increases. In this example, I will work it in a spiral and not joining the rounds. So let me make a quick explanation of those two terms. Working in spiral means that after you're done with your round, you go straight into the next round without making any join or chain. You just continue around and around in a spiral. Working joined rounds, however, when you reach the end of a round, you join the last stitch with the first stitch, and then usually you chain 1 and continue to the next round. This chain usually doesn't count as a stitch, or it could, it depends on the pattern. There are tons of ways to join rounds, and choosing whether to join rounds or not depends on the pattern, depends on the design, personal preference, the stitches, and a lot of things. Personally, I don't join my rounds because what I mostly do are amigurumis, and you don't need to join rounds, and it's preferable to not join the rounds because sometimes, or most of the time, joining rounds will leave a seam on your project, and that is, in my opinion, it's not desirable. But for other things, or when using really tall stitches and stuff like that, it is necessary to join rounds. So again, it depends on the kind of project that you're working on. In this example, I won't be joining my rounds. If you would like me to, I can make another video for joining rounds, but in this video, I won't be covering that. Okay, so let's get to the second round. Working in rounds works with increases, always. In this example, I want to make a circle. In order to achieve a circle, I need to place the increases evenly across the rounds so that it retains the shape of a circle. Here, a little math gets involved, but don't be scared, it's not difficult math. The rule for a circle is to increase the same amount of stitches that you started with. In this case, I started with 6 stitches. This means that I need to make 6 increases each round so that the circle expands evenly, so it doesn't ruffle, it doesn't shrink, it just expands flat. It needs to be 6 increases each round. So for my second round, I will make 6 increases, 1 in each of the stitches. My second round will end up with 12 stitches in total. Make sure to use a stitch marker when working in rounds, and even more when working in a spiral without joining, because you can sometimes lose that first stitch and continue crocheting without stopping, and that is not what you want. You want to make a round and stop where you should and then continue. So I will make 1 single crochet, and I'm gonna place my stitch marker right on that first stitch before continuing in my other stitches. Now I'm going to make another single crochet into that stitch because we are making an increase on each stitch. Now I go to the next one, and I will make 2 single crochets on that one as well, and repeat this until we reach the end of the round for a total of 6 increases or a total of 12 stitches. This is what we have so far. Now, on my next round, or the third round, I will need to make 6 increases again. Sometimes people get confused and they start with 6 stitches and then they make 6 increases, so 1 increase on each stitch on the second round, and then on the third one they think that they need to make 1 increase on each of the stitches again, which would be 12 increases, and that is a lot of increases. The result of that will be for your work to start to ruffle, like a scrunchie. And again, that is probably something that you desire, but if you're trying to make a flat circle like I am, you shouldn't do that. You need to stick, in this case, to 6 increases per round. So on this round, again, I need to make 6 increases, but in this case I have 12 stitches. So how do I place them? What we're going to do is 1 single crochet on this first stitch, and then on the next stitch we're going to make an increase, and we're going to repeat that. So single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, all around until we reach the end. What we're doing is distributing the increases evenly throughout the round so it retains its shape. So again, 1 single crochet, an increase, And as you can see on the screen, that is how it looks on a pattern. What we're doing, it is single crochet increase by 6 times. After that round, as you can see, it is still flat. If you want to keep expanding the circle, it is the same thing. We need to increase 6 stitches again. So in this example, this next round should be something like increase 2 single crochets 6 times, or 2 single crochets increase 6 times. Either way, we're just increasing 6 stitches. The difference there is the placement of those increases. I always like to stagger my increases so that I end up with an even edge instead of a polygon. Staggering means to not place an increase on top of an increase of the previous round. For example, in round 4, I will start with an increase because on the last round, my first stitch was a single crochet and not an increase. I hope you can understand. Right here on the screen you have a small picture so you can visualize what I mean. I am not placing an increase on top of an increase. I will probably make a quick video about stacked increases versus staggered increases because I feel like that is useful knowledge for designing projects and for understanding how the increases work when they are stacked on top of each other, because sometimes that helps for creating shapes like squares and triangles and any other polygons. But that would be a separate video. In this case, I am avoiding stacking the increases because we have 6 increases. So that could make my circle start to look like a polygon. In this case, because it's 6 increases, it would be 6 points and that would look like a hexagon. And that is not what we want. We want a circle. Anyways, moving on. In this next round, what I will do is, again, I started with an increase. And then in these next 2 stitches, I will make 1 single crochet into each, because those 2 stitches from the last round were an increase. So this means that my increases will not land on top of each other. Depending on the project, you may not need to stagger the increases. Sometimes the end result won't show the stacked increases. Again, it's personal preference. So, for now we understand that increasing in rounds expands the shape. But what happens when we don't increase in a round? When that happens, it is called to crochet even or crochet around. We just make 1 stitch on each of the stitches. In this example, my last round has 18 stitches. This means in this round we will make 18 stitches as well. We are not going to increase. I will repeat that also on the next 2 rounds for a total of 3 rounds. here you can see the effect that this creates. The rounds are no longer expanding, but building up like walls. That's what crocheting even does. So, increasing expands and crocheting even builds up. What about decreasing? Well, as you probably have guessed, decreasing will do the opposite of increasing, obviously. It will make the shape shrink inwards. And that will be continued on part 2 because this video is getting a little long. But don't worry, part 2 was uploaded at the same time as part 1, so you can go check it out now. In the meantime, check out this summary of this video so you can digest the information you just learned, and see you there!